Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is demonstrate how to use Google Sheets, Google Spreadsheets, to take a set of data and enter it into Google Spreadsheets and have it create a scatter plot of data. And then we'll look at that scatter plot and we're going to see that it looks somewhat like it fits the trend of a line. So we're going to fit it with a linear regression, and we're going to find the line of best fit. And then we're going to get the equation of that line in best fit. In fact, Google Sheets is going to do that for us. And then we're going to answer some questions. So here we have the value of a car decreases as the number of miles it's driven increases. Below is a table of values that illustrates this trend. Number 1, create a scatter plot of this data. Number 2, find the line of best fit by performing a linear regression. Number 3, write the linear regression equation. We'll just write it down because Google Sheets is going to write it for us, or it's going to generate it for us. We'll write it down. And then we're going to use the linear regression equation to determine the car's worth if it had been driven for 180,000 miles based upon our linear regression. Okay, so we're just going to find a line that fits the data the best, and we're going to use the equation of that line to predict the value of the car as you drive it for longer and longer. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this data table. Here's our X values. So in this top, you can pick any top of any column that you want. I'm just going to go ahead and start here in E, number of miles driven. Okay, I'll extend that out a little bit so we can see it. Here, the value of the car. Okay, so what we're doing here is we are labeling our x-axis and our y-axis. So these are our inputs and our outputs. So for the number of miles driven, we have 0, 10,000, 30,000, 45,000, 90,000, 105,000, and 150,000. Oops. Let me fix that up. 150,000. So I'm going to double check those. 10, 30, 45, 90. Okay. So we have that. And now I'm going to put in the value of the car. At 0 miles, it's worth 27,000, then 22,500. So that's a pretty stiff drop here from 0 miles. It's lost almost $4,500 just after you drove it 10,000 miles. This is normal. Then we have $20,250 at 30,000, and then 18,000. These are just general numbers. And then at 90,000, it's at 13,000. 105,000, it's worth $10,000. And then 150,000, it's worth $7,000. Okay, enter. So I have now entered this data. Now, to create a scatter plot, what you do is you just grab your mouse and you highlight this data, just that data, okay? Just that data. And we are going to put it in a chart. There's 2 places you can do that. You can go insert and insert a chart. And you see that little icon right there is the chart icon. That's also here. I'm just going to do that. And let me make my video. I don't know if I can scroll this over a bit. Oh, oops. So that's our chart. Let me move that over here. And I'm going to actually scoot my video over so you can see. Okay, this is not a scatter plot. Okay, what I want is just to see the points graphed here. So we're going to go here and we're going to edit our chart. And this right now, it's in a line chart, and that's not a line, that's a bunch of different lines. What I would like to do is a scattered plot here. You can find it here, or you can come down here and look. They will give you the same data. Okay, so I'm going to close that for a minute so that you can see that this data trends towards a line that's decreasing, right? And so what we want to do is fit a line of best fit on here so that all of the points are as close to that line as possible. Well, this is very hard for humans to do, but calculators can do it well. So I'm going to come back up here, and we are going to fit it. We're going to edit a chart again. We're going to fit it with a line of best fit. So we're going to go to here to customize, and we're going to go to series, and we are going to come down here and fit it with a trend line. And that's going to put our line of best fit. So you saw this little line up here. I think I'll just darken that up a bit and just make it really dark so I can really see it. And then what I'm going to do here is we're going to label it using its equation. So what we're going to have Google Sheet do right now is write the equation of this line. Okay, so now I'm going to close that. And hopefully you saw that this appeared right here. And I don't know if I can zoom. I'll make this chart a little bigger so that we can actually see it for just a minute. Okay, so you can see here that it says negative 0.127 times x, which is your input. So this is your number of miles driven, plus 24,639. And you can see that our scatter plot here, those are our values. But all of these values for our scatter plot are as close to this line as possible. So this isn't an exact, this line doesn't exactly predict values of the cars, but it gives you the value of this car as it's driven a certain number of miles, but it does give you a good, a prediction line. Okay, and so this right here is our linear regression equation for our line of best fit. So let's go ahead and write that in. I'm just going to type it in right here. So this is number 3, and I'm just going to type in y equals negative 0.127x plus 24,639. Okay, and so that's our answer for number 3. So here on our graph, we have the answer to number 1, create the scatter plot. Number 2, fit the line of best fit by performing a linear regression. So we did that. And then the next question was to write the linear regression equation. And you can't really see that information because it's off the screen. But there's the equation. And so let's just interpret what this means. Okay, this is the slope of our line, and it's definitely negative, right? And here's our y-intercept. So our y-intercept is on our line of regression. You can see it's a little bit lower than the actual value of the car at 0 years or 0 miles. So it's at 24,639. Not perfect, but it's pretty good. Okay, so the last question, let me zoom over here and I'll bring you back. It says use the linear regression equation to determine the car's worth if it's been driven 180,000 miles. So of course, you could go into your equation here. 180,000 is your input, it's your x value. So you could just get your calculator out and plug that into your linear equation and you could estimate that. Let me show you how to use Google Sheets to do that for you. So first, excuse me, I apologize. Okay, so we have our regression equation here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to use Google Sheets to figure the answer out for 180,000 miles. So let me zoom that back over here. And so here's something that's really cool. We're going to put an input and an output. So we're just making another table. And listen, each of these little boxes is what we call a cell. So we're going to input into this cell, and this is row E, and this is row 16. So it's column E and row 16. So this is cell E16. I know you can't see that. Let me zoom over so you can see here. So you can see E is kind of highlighted here and 16 is highlighted. So this right here is cell E16. All right, so in cell E16, we're going to go ahead and input 180,000 miles. And in our output, what we're going to do is we are going to type our equation in here, which is, and this is really critical, equals negative 0.127, and we're going to multiply that times our x, which is our input. So to get the multiplication, you have to do Shift 8 to get the little asterisk for multiplication, and then we're going to enter E16. So we're telling the sheet to multiply it times that cell number, which the number that's in that cell, and then plus our y-intercept, which is 24,639. And you can see that it's generating an answer up here at $1,779. So that's pretty cool because that gave you an output value. So that basically says that in this trend line here, if we were predicting a value of a car, this specific car, after we've driven at 180,000 miles, it would be worth approximately $1,779. Well, let's see what happens if we keep going. So let's put in cell E17, 200,000 miles. Okay, so I'm feeling like at 200,000 miles, we're getting down here on this side of the graph, we might be out of money here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. Actually, I'm going to come up to this, and I'm going to go ahead and double click that, and I'm going to grab this equation here, and I'm going to copy. So you can't, to copy, I just do Control C to copy, but you can also go to edit up here and copy, but you can't see that because it's outside of my video, but, and then you paste it. I'm just going to do Control V to paste it. And then I'm just going to change this. So this is my equation here, but I'm going to change it to cell E17 because I want to multiply it times cell E17. And look at that. It is worthless. The car is worthless at 200,000 miles. Now, is that actually true? Probably not. Someone might give you $500 for it. But this, again, is just a trend line, and it helps you to make predictions. It doesn't give you exact values. Now, we could also find other really cool values. Like maybe we want to sell it when you've driven it 75,000 miles. So that would be somewhere right here. So we could do that input. So 75,000 miles. So that's an E18. That's cell E18. So again, I just come up here and I do Control C to copy that equation, and then Control V to put it in that cell, then double click to open it up so we can change this to E17, E18, because we're in row E, cell 18, hit enter, and at $75,000 or 75,000 miles, it's still worth $15,000. So that's a pretty cool way to figure that out. Of course, your calculator works just the same, and you could just plug these answers into your calculator. But I just wanted you to know how to use that. You're going to do a project where I'm going to give you a set of data like this, and you're going to enter that data into a Google Sheet, create a scatter plot, and find the line of best fit, get the linear regression equation, and then get some prediction values from that. Okay, so keep this video handy so that you can go back and look at it just in case you forget how to do something. All right, it's going to be fun. See you later.